As a child, I was always the kid who was asking, why is this the case? How does it work? And as soon as someone told me why it was like this, I would say, well, why isn't it like this? And how do you know? And so that really is, I think I was really born with this scientific mindset of always questioning how you know a fact. And, there were times when I thought that would get me into trouble in my undergraduate courses when I was really questioning what I was being taught. But I was lucky enough to have professors who recognized that for what it ended up being was that I was just a budding intellectual and scientist. And I entered my undergraduate years intending to study marine biology, but I took a non-majors biology class where I was exposed to, fabulous. There was a zoologist and a botanist who taught the course together, and they told many beautiful stories about biology. And I just fell in love with genetics and how you could use mathematics to understand how life worked and how living organisms adapted to their environment. And that really took me down this path that led to where I am today. When I was an undergraduate, there were very few female faculty in biological sciences and biochemistry and genetics and any of the departments that I was typically exposed to. And none of those clearly had family, and none of them clearly had the balance in life that I knew would be important for me to be a creative scientist and a leader. My very first research mentor, who was a fabulous human being, but just of a previous generation, told me that he was confident that I would have a great career in science if I didn't get married and have a kid. And at the time, that was the furthest thing from my mind. Getting married, having a family, all I cared about was science. But I still remember thinking, I don't want to do that right now, but I certainly am going to do that in the future because I am confident I can do both if I am truly passionate about what I'm doing. As graduate students, my husband and I decided to start a family. We were two PhD students living in Boston and had virtually no money, but we remember it as the happiest time of our lives. I love having this partnership with my husband that goes from the home to the lab. We are very synergistic and we think about science in slightly different ways, but yet we have a common value and a common approach to science. We both firmly believe that science is a creative endeavor. Just like art, you have to create things, create new approaches. You need to present your research in really beautiful ways. And you need to ask the hard questions about why something is the way it is. And that's a really synergistic relationship. One of the real perks of being married to someone in your field is that, if you wake up and you're worried about something, you're thinking about why this experiment didn't work, you can always talk to the person who's right next door and ask them for their opinion. You never have to really leave science behind. And that I know can be both a blessing and a curse, but we've always managed to equally focus on our family and our personal lives. We know that balance is really critical for allowing us both to be creative. One of the biggest challenges that my husband and I faced in our academic careers was when I was an assistant professor and he was still a postdoc, and our daughter, who was at the time just 9 months old, was diagnosed with cancer. We learned this on a telephone driving home from the hospital on a cell phone, and it was truly a shock and a really intense period of my life. I was up for tenure and gave my tenure talk in between chemotherapy treatments. And I did that of my own choice. The department was quite willing to let me push that off, but I decided I was just going to plow forward and keep going with this career. And I was truly impressed and remain grateful to this day for the support that the campus and the Division of Biological Sciences really showed for both of us in supporting us through this time. I carry this with me as dean because I recognize that my faculty and our students may be going through challenges like this every day, and it really is my responsibility to pay it forward and to support people who are going through their life challenges to the best of my extent. UC San Diego really shaped my career in many ways. When I came to UC San Diego, it was like having this big, beautiful scientific playground opened up in front of me. There were all these really fun faculty to talk to and to collaborate with. And I've been able to collaborate with faculty across the campus, ranging from chemists to practicing physicians and engineers, as well as collaborating with individuals off of the campus. And so coming to UC San Diego really opened my eyes to interdisciplinary science and allowed me to take my science really to the next level and have an impact in more fields. Among my scientific achievements, I think I'm most proud of the work that I've done really helping to establish the field of bacterial cell biology and applying that to understanding how cells work and solving some of the questions that I set out to solve when I was on my job interview here at UC San Diego. I actually did what I said I was going to do, which I'm really pleased about. And I'm also really proud that the cell biological approaches that my husband and I developed led to the development of this new method to accelerate antibacterial drug discovery. And this was accepted by the field and recognized recently by the Journal of Antibiotics, where we won the Best Article of the Year award recently. So that's really an accomplishment I'm really proud of, because it shows how if you develop a new technique and keep your eyes open for practical applications, how you can ultimately have an impact on society and human health. The role model that I had was my mother, who was an executive in the ski industry, which back in the time, in the 70s and 80s, and even today, was a male-dominated field. So I was able to draw on her experiences as a woman in a male-dominated field and to apply them to sciences. And that was really important to me, because I got to see how she approached problem solving as being the only woman in the room. And that was truly important. So I really think it is important for people to have role models, be they in the same profession or even outside of the profession, to really see how to approach problems, how to solve problems, and how to be a leader. One thing I'm really excited about as dean is helping to grow leadership on the campus and in the Division of Biological Sciences. I'm really passionate about inspiring and encouraging diverse faculty and students to strive for leadership positions and providing them opportunities to really grow in their leadership abilities. And this is really important because no one person has the right answer for how to solve any of the problems or challenges the campus faces, nor how to maximize the opportunities that present themselves. But together, we can get to the right answer, especially if we have a diverse group of individuals focusing on a problem and coming together to help find the right solution.